On the 3rd of April 2025, people gathered at Ngaio Town Hall to celebrate its 100th anniversary. But was it even a town hall? That's a question we'll answer in a few minutes. On Saturday, people got together to set up and organise the hall. By late Saturday afternoon, it was all ready to go. Sunday afternoon, people arrived and the band began to play.
I'm president of the Onslow Historical Society, and it's great that we could join with Ngaio and Crofton Downs residents in hosting this event. And a special thank you to Viv Chapel, who's been the real sort of force behind today. Onslow Historic Society hosts history talks, walks around the local historic sites, publications and suppers, more suppers from Viv. So please feel free to join our organisation for $35 a year. There's membership forms over there at our table. And we've got a little museum at 86 Kendala Road that some of you might know. It's free to visit and open on Sundays. Now, this road that comes down here and along this way used to be called Sawmill Road, and of course it went past Margaret Demet's fantastic heritage historic Category 1 house called Crofton, and Margaret's going to cut our cake later on. So this area was called Crofton, and in 1908 it was renamed Ngaio because there was some confusion with another Crofton. The Coromako stream came through this area, and there was a sawmill on the site that was actually owned by John Chew from Chew's Cottage just behind me, and the stream still goes through the car park. It's in a concrete culvert. And it would be nice to see it again. This is a community hall or a public hall. It's not actually a town hall, and that's because when it was built, there's never been any city council that was located here. So before that time, Ngaio, Crofton, Kendala was part of the Onslow Borough Council, which met at the Kendala Town Hall. And then in 1919, Onslow Borough merged or amalgamated with the Wellington City Council. Some of you might have thoughts about that now. So it was always established as a community hall, and it was the initiative of the Ngaio Progressive Association, which was set up in 1923, I think, and it had a fantastic leader, a guy called Herbert Cummings, and he was the leader of that group for 25 years, the Ngaio Progressive Association, and he was a real driving force at the development of this suburb. And of course the Ngaio Library and the park is named after Herbert Cummings. So he organised the residents of Ngaio to raise money to build this hall. And they raised the money and they took out a loan, £5,000, which the residents of Ngaio paid off themselves. So they paid extra rates to build this, and some of you might have thoughts about extra rates. Anyway, when the building was built in 1925, it was designed by the city architect, a guy called Walter Arked, A-K-E-D, and he was employed by the city council as the architect, and he designed the building. And it's designed in the arts and crafts style with this kind of interesting English look to it. Now, it was important to put the building here because it was so convenient for the road but perhaps even more importantly in 1925, the railway. So when this building was built, steam trains went past this building on their way to Auckland. This was, of course, the main trunk line to Auckland until 1937, when the deviation with the tunnels were built and the trains went direct from Wellington to Tawa, and then the Johnsonville line just became a branch line, and it was soon after that was electrified. And of course, that was something that the Ngaio residents were very keen on, having an electrified suburban link with Wellington. When the building was built, the library was in this room here, in this little lower ceilinged annex next door. And the building was also used as a local movie cinema. So there was a projection box up above the door where you came in, and it showed movies. And when it was built in 1925, this building was the heart of the community. So there were dances and parties, and everybody used it like today. So that's so great. And so we would like to hear from you, Peter. Thank you.
Kia ora tātou. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Felicity, for the introduction. Thank you to the band for its wonderful performance. Thank you to the various community leaders who are here today showing their support for this occasion, and I suspect with some other events in mind in a couple of months' time also boosting their own support. But it's good to be here to celebrate this important event in the life of this community. Felicity has told you a lot of the history, how this town hall came to be, who were the principal actors at the time, some of the wider history at the time that it was constructed 100 years ago. I always think of these things in terms of the human element. Very difficult for a suburb like Ngaio, wedged between suburbs to its north and its south, to carve out a distinct identity. It's done that, and a principal part of its ability to do that has been the capacity of this hall to serve a variety of community needs. You know the old story that when 2 or 3 New Zealanders get together, they form a committee, and they've usually got a project. And in the early years, often that project, and you can see these up and down New Zealand today, was some form of community facility, a hall, a swimming pool, a park. Things that would mark out the identity of that place as a local community. Things that would give a focal point to the activities and the life of that community. And what we've seen with this hall over the last 100 years is precisely that. So without further ado, I'm going to come down and collect Jack, and together we're going to fix on to the memorial hall just over here. Thank you very much. Here we are, we're going to do that. You're a good boy. Congratulations.
I should read it to you. It says, a post-World War I arts and crafts style community building opened on the 1st of August, and Richard 2 days late, but that's okay, 1925, initiated by the Ngaio Progressive Association. It was funded by a £5,000 10-year loan, Rossi's already covered up on that, and the mystery words are going to read, agreed to and paid by the ratepayers of Ngaio. So they had a poll, and the difference between a poll and a survey is a poll is usually one question, and the question was, are you going to pay? And they specified how much that would be, and 192 ratepayers, who would mostly have been men, said yes, and 61, I think, or maybe it was 62, I can't remember, said no. So I went ahead, and they paid over the next 10 years. It came in at just slightly under £5,000. When you put that against the post-World War I stuff and the Depression, that was a huge effort, and here we are. So we're very grateful for them, and this is going to mark that. So thank you.